Today we have our final game in the Champions League group stage, and if it goes wrong, it could be our final game in the Champions League this season. Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome to episode 10 of Let's Go Villa. I'm Stu, thank you for joining me in today's video, where we're going to be playing against Chelsea in the Premier League and against Porto in the final Champions League group stage game of the season. And if you're looking forward to see how those games go, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe so you never miss any lovely football content from the channel and from yours truly. I've started on this screen, which is not normally where I start. I normally start on the main screen just to show you all the stats and stuff, but I wanted to show you where the Champions League group stage is currently at. As you can see, third place in the group by 1 point from Porto. Porto are the last team we have to play at home. So if we win that, we will be second. If we draw it or lose it, we will finish third. The one good news is, because Olympiacos have been so bad, it means that we can only finish third in terms of how low we can finish. So we're guaranteed to be in the Europa League knockouts. That is something I will take if it comes to it, but I would like to think we have got enough about us to go against Porto and at least compete. In terms of the Premier League's still going rather well. We're third. We're doing nicely. Coutinho is still on the list of assist makers. He's had a bit of a rough patch of form recently, so we do need to bear that in mind. But it's all looking all right. It's all looking all right. If we have a look at the fixtures, as you can see, we've only lost the one other game in the league against Manchester City, one of the teams you'd expect us to lose against. And then we did also lose against Paris Saint-Germain in the second game against them. 3-0 in France. That wasn't ideal. And then we struggled against Bournemouth. But again, if you look at the table, Bournemouth, currently fourth. They're having a really good season, as are Wolves, as are Southampton, as are Leicester. Utter madness indeed. Everyone else is just toiling away down here. But we did okay in those games. We did get past Olympiacos as well. They did score a goal against us. We weren't as convincing as I would have liked to have been. I didn't want to click on this, but we'll have a look at it anyway, because why not? We weren't as convincing as I would have liked to have been. What this doesn't show is that at half-time, we actually changed to a 4-3-3 with the holding midfielder, and it looks a little bit more competent. So as a result of that, that is what we're going to be using in this game, because I did feel at times we were a bit open between the midfield and the defence, and the defensive-minded midfielder just wasn't close enough. So we obviously, as you saw a lot of the time, if we felt we were against a team who were better than us, we would be dropping the midfielder down here, and we would be doing that. And then if we were in a game where we thought we were going to struggle, we'd probably do that as well. And that has worked when we've needed it to, when we've needed to hold results. But to be completely honest, my thought process is if we're having to do that more and more, we might as well actually just shift to this system. And I feel like this system has got potential to be really, really good. Speaking of really good, Go PARMA, 6 goals, 8 assists in his season so far. He is someone I am desperate to bring back next season. I'd ideally like to buy him, if I'm honest with you. His current value is up to £32 million. That is in the ballpark of what we can afford. He's outscored and equaled the assists of Coutinho. He's just done a really good job. He's our joint second top goal scorer as well. So good on you, mate. Very happy. But this is the 11 we're going to be using to go against Chelsea in the Premier League today. It is Martinez in goal, Konsa, Aya, Carlos, Digne in defence, Berge, Gonçalves and Vitinha in the midfield, with Parma and Coutinho sporting Ings up front. Maffeo has been injured, so we were in the process of trying to sell him. We were negotiating with Atletico Madrid, and then he got injured, and he's out for up to 2 months. That's kind of scuppered everything, if I'm being honest with you, and we are still hemorrhaging money, kind of like we were last season, so I'm a little bit loath to make a permanent signing. I am, however, considering a couple of sales. Sale number 1 I'm considering is Jeremy Boga. When he's come in, he's been absolutely fine, but it's not that often that he comes in, so I would actually be open to moving him on, especially with his value going up to £18.5 million. If anyone would like to come in for him, I would listen. I would also quite like to move on Boubacar Kamara, not because he's been bad, quite the contrary. He's been really good for us, but he still wants to leave. So if he still wants to leave, I'd quite like someone to come in for, what's the value there? £64 million. I would actually consider around 50. I would actually consider around 50. So if anyone does want to come in for him, I would consider it. But the Maffeo issue means everyone's still unhappy because we haven't been able to get rid of him. There's no opportunity for everyone to become happy again. So I'm waiting for that team meeting to happen still. It hasn't yet. but I imagine it will. Buendia's out of the squad completely today, by the way, as well, because, to be completely honest with you, he's been trash recently, and I'm trying to send him a bit of a message, so hopefully that message will go through loud and clear. But we're going to go through to the game and see whether we can get 3 points against a struggling Chelsea side who have recently sacked their manager, Diego Simeone. So let's see whether we can get those 3 points. Let's go. Chelsea are one of those teams that when you look at their squad and take it as it is, it's baffling to me that they are doing as badly as they are. Currently in 11th. To me, they should absolutely be in the top 6 with the squad they've got. They've got Lukaku back as well. Obviously, he's on loan in real life. This is the season after, technically, even though it's technically this season. It's weird trying to explain that. But, yeah, he's back at the club. And obviously, it hasn't really worked for them so far. I don't know how many goals he scored, but certainly the goals alone have not been enough. Constantly playing it right back because we've just been playing Matty Cash there. Jared Branthwaite did get a injury, and Coutinho, after I slagged him off for not playing very well, has actually scored. Branthwaite has been injured, he's just come back, but he would have been our backup right back as well. But Consa can play there, so we've just moved him over, giving him some game time. It's just given the chance for Matty Cash to have a rest. I was at the point where I was considering giving Maffeo a chance back in the team, and then that's when the injury happened, so it is what it is. We'll deal with it, but at the moment, it's going okay for us. We are 1-0 ahead against Chelsea, and I'm not going to use this as a judge as to whether the 4-3-3 with the holding midfielder works. However, I do feel like it will give us a bit more stability. My one concern is, will we get the same amount of ability out of Gonçalves in this system? He's as a central midfielder on attack at the moment. He can play as a Mazzala as well, so we have got that as an option. I would rather him be in a more central area. However, we know that if he needs to go out wide, he can do a decent job there. So we'll see what happens. Ball in for Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer just puts it wide. Our finishing hasn't been the best recently. And what I didn't contend with as well is the fact that this is the season in the game that we're currently in real life. The World Cup is around the corner. So we have literally, since the first month of the season, been playing game after game after game after game, 2 games a week. A lot of it obviously due to the Champions League and the EFL Cup, but it has been a consistent slog of games that we've been playing, and as a result of that, the team is tired. So I am looking forward to the moment when the World Cup hits, because we will be able to have a break, and I am very much looking forward to that for the boys, because some of them are running on fumes. Like I said before, Matty Cash in particular, looking like he's struggling a little bit. We do want to make sure that we don't overwork the players and start to get a lot of injuries, because that obviously isn't ideal. I am going to turn Pedro Gonçalves into a Mazzala on attack. We'll just see whether that gives him a bit more ability to get involved in the game, because I really don't feel like we've seen a lot from him in the few highlights that we've had. Chelsea now on the ball looking to get an attack in, but Pedro actually intercepts immediately there, which is good to see. I don't know whether the Mazzala change will have had anything to do with that, but it's good to see him getting involved. Consa now, over to Aya, who we've actually, a couple of times when we've needed to defend, there's a car alarm going off in the background. When we've needed to defend, we've actually moved him up to the defensive midfield position to cover when we've decided we've needed a bit more cover. And Pedro Gonçalves has gone and scored after we've made that change. Maybe Mazzala is the way forward for him. Who knows? Who knows? Mazzala, good position or not? Meh. Obviously it is. But that's throwing me off my point. Completely throwing me off my point. We're 2-0 ahead. Who cares what my point was? We're 2-0 ahead. Christopher Aya, that was my point. We've moved him up to defensive midfield, and I know that he can be a good defensive midfielder, but he's actually played really well there, to the point where I am debating in January, if Kamara goes, we don't bring another defensive midfielder in, bring another centre-back in, and we bump Aya up to defensive midfield. It can do a job there. It can absolutely do a job there. I'm also considering, do we bring a centre-back in? Apologies. I had to go and check what the car alarm was. I was getting a little bit annoyed by it. I've also let the game run completely without doing any substitutions, which, considering the team are absolutely getting knackered at the moment, is not the wisest thing I've ever done. So we are going to make all of the changes that we can just to rest the team a little bit. We're going to try and not bring Matty Cash on. We'll bring Douglas Luiz on. We'll actually bring him on as the defensive midfielder. I am debating Douglas Luiz. I am debating whether he actually comes into this position and rotates with Sander Berge if we get rid of Kamara as well. So although I said about Io, I am also debating this as well. Not 100% sure what I will do, but the thing is, I'm debating if he becomes the defensive midfielder, we can bring another playmaker in. I think I'd quite like that, because Douglas Luiz has been decent there, but he's not been spectacular. Now, Jacob Ramsey is the only issue with this formation change. It's a case of where do we put him. We're going to bring Cole Palmer off. He's not had the best of games. and we'll swap him and Berger around. In fact, we'll do that. We'll put Gonçalves out wide, and we'll bring Coutinho into the middle. Coutinho can play there as the Mazzala. I believe in him. I believe he has the ability to do that. In fact, even better than that, play him as the playmaker, and we'll put Jacob Ramsey there as the Mazzala, because I have faith in him that he can do that. And Lucas Digne can come off for the final change for Bjorkman, and that will do. 5 changes all at once. Why the devil not? Let's just get the players on the pitch and let's just see the game out. We're 2 ahead. I imagine that will be it. The 2 midfield boys, Gonçalves and Coutinho, getting the job done for us today, which is good to see. Jacob Ramsey now on the ball. Gets it over to, I don't even know who it was. He didn't come up with their name. But Ollie Watkins just heads against the crossbar. Not had the same form this season, Ollie Watkins. I thought before this season that if we were going to get rid of one of the strikers, we'd get rid of Danny Ings because he's older, he's more injury prone, and Ollie Watkins' level of ability is very similar. So it actually is a no-brainer. I do have to say, Ollie Watkins has not performed quite to the standard I'd expect this season. He's put in a couple of very woeful performances. In the same way that Danny Ings did last season, actually, I have to say. John Terry's the caretaker manager at Chelsea. Wow. Gutted. But that's a good win. 3 goals. We'll take that. 2 assists from Lucas Digne as well. Lucas Digne's been absolutely fantastic for us, I have to say. Right. Porto in 4 days' time. Let's skip forward and let's see whether we can get through to the knockouts of the Champions League. Here we are ready for the game against Porto. Remember, this is the decider as to which European competition we play in the next period of the season. Will it be the Champions League? Will it be the Europa League? I guess we're going to find out. This is the 11 we're going to be using. It is Martinez in goal, Cash, Aya, Mings and Digne in defence, with Berge, Gonçalves and Vitinha in the midfield. And Buendia and Coutinho are going to be supporting Ings up front. Contract news, Ollie Watkins has signed a new deal, so he is going to be contracted with us until the year of 2026. We have offered a new deal to Matty Cash as well, so we'll see whether those deals get signed or not. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to see whether we can get those 3 points we need to get through to the next round of the Champions League, or whether it's Thursday night football. Let's go. Like most games we play, we have definitely got it in us in this team to be able to get a win against Porto, especially at home. We did struggle against them when we played them away from home earlier in the season. It was the first game actually in the Champions League. I think it was a draw we ended up getting. It was 1-1 in the end, but they definitely looked the better team. So it'd be nice if at our place we could be the better team here. That's what I'm hoping for. Buendia has been restored to the starting 11. Hopefully he can put in a good performance. He has been talks about in the media as being a player who will be dropped by Argentina because of his poor form, and he hasn't really performed at all this season, so he does need to do something. Terrible defending from Porto, but we do not take advantage. Danny Ings with a misfire there. What an opportunity that was, and it's the kind of one we need to be taking. We really do. PSG currently 0-0 against Olympiacos. Of course, both of their races are already run in this competition. We don't really need to worry about them too much because there's not a lot that can change with them, but we'll keep an eye on it anyway, just out of curiosity. Right, Digne gets it to Coutinho. Coutinho tries to get it to Vitinha, can't quite squeeze it through, but Pedro Gonçalves is there, and Pedro Gonçalves, formerly of Sporting Lisbon, puts us 1-0 ahead against their rivals Porto, and that, I imagine, will be very sweet for the Portuguese playmaker. I say playmaker, we're not using him at all as a playmaker, as a midfielder. You know what I mean. He's a good player is what I'm getting at, and he's gone and scored a good goal that could put us through to the next round of the Champions League. Glorious. Right, let's get another one. Let's not sit on our hands and just assume that this is going to be all we need. Let's get another one, and let's try and make sure that we definitely go through. Right, Porto, building from the back. Pepe gets to Grujic. Grujic now into Carmo. Going to look to get the ball forward here. Gets it to Franco. Looking to get it into Evanilson, but Martinez is there. Doesn't go to pick it up, interestingly enough, but Danny Ings gets the ball off of him. Really well taken from the Englishman. Whips in, looking for Buendia, and Buendia makes it 2, subject to the little man in the referee's ear. Is the goal going to get disallowed by the little man? Hopefully it isn't. Hopefully we are 2-0 ahead. I'd like that. I'd like to see Emi Buendia get a goal, actually. I'd be very happy with it. And he has got his goal, and that makes me feel a lot better. Danny Ings did superbly to get the ball here. Absolutely fantastic. Then just cuts inside, crosses it in. Great cross to Buendia. And it is 2-0. And I'm starting to feel a bit better about this game. I came into it, I don't know whether you could tell, I came into it being quite pessimistic about our chances. Just because I was really frustrated with that first game against Porto. And it kind of felt like it was getting set up for us to get knocked out of the group. But knocked out of the group we are not going to be. We are going to go through to the next round as it stands. We just need to capitalise on our 2-0 advantage, and just, if we can get another goal, I'd be even happier. I'm going to keep saying that until we're like 4 or 5 ahead. Then I'll be confident, because we've all played Football Manager before. We all know how these things happen. Right, Cash gets it to Buendia. Buendia looking for options. Goes back to Cash. Looking for a good ball. Gets it to Danny Ings. Danny Ings takes it down. What a finish from Danny Ings. He missed a sitter earlier in the game when it was 0-0. Didn't miss that one. It's 3 on the half hour. And Danny Ings is the one who has got a third for us. Buendia gets it to Cash. Cash with a beautiful ball. Remember, he has got a contract on the table that it looks like he'll be signing. And that is such a lovely finish. Diogo Costa in the goal has no chance of saving it. And we lead by 3. And again, that puts us into second. Glorious. PSG and Olympiacos, by the way, still 0-0. Olympiacos having an absolute madness against them at the moment. And you would have liked to have thought that they might be able to do that earlier in the season. But obviously, they're not able to do that. Mings wins the header, looking to get it to Ings, can't quite get there. And now, Porto are going to try and build. Evanilson is in here. Remember, they do have a lot of quality in their team, but Martinez makes the save, but there's an offside anyway, so none of it matters. 40 minutes gone here, and it's looking like it's going to be 3-0 at half-time. I'm quite content with that. I would like another goal. Again, I'm going to keep saying that, but 3-0 it is, and I am delighted. Let's carry on, boys. Carry on as we are. Coutinho has not had the best of games. I am going to take him off, and I think we're actually going to swap things around. We're going to bring Go PARMA on, bring Buendia onto the left. He is getting very good on the left, although he hasn't come up in his positions. He's a 3-star player. He has played well out there. And Go PARMA on this side, I just think he's a better player there. So we'll bring him on. He will hopefully get some minutes. We'll leave it at that for now. We've only got 3 substitutions in Europe, remember, so we'll leave the other 2 until around the 70th minute. But we'll just encourage Cole and see if he can get in another good performance. Because I know I've talked him up quite a lot. He has been superb for us. He genuinely has been. I've been very impressed with the way that he's played. Is that... That's a different Pepe. I was going to say, is that Nicolas Pepe from Arsenal? It's not. It's a different Pepe. There's so many Pepes. What is going on? Right. Let's get the ball off of them, boys. Let's go and get a fourth. That feels like the plan to me. And Pedro Gonçalves, here's my words, and he goes with it. Pedro running forward here. Gets it out to Go PARMA. Go PARMA looking for options. Dribbling around nicely. Whips it in. Looking for Buendia. But Buendia hits it right at the goalkeeper, which is a little bit disappointing. What a great first bit of involvement from Go PARMA. Again, I think in the summer, unless we have any positions we desperately need to upgrade, main bit of business, sign Go PARMA to a permanent contract. I don't care if he wants 150 grand a week. I will give it him at this point. He has been one of our best players. Absolutely. I mean, look at that. Such good movement from him. He just gets it into such a good position and then just lays it on a plate for Danny Ings to make it 4. Go PARMA might be one of my favourite players so far on FM22. Let's say so far on FM22. It's near the end of FM22. He actually might be one of my favourite players. And I know that's a madness of a thing to say, but I can't remember using a player who's given me such joy when I've played this game. He has been superb for us. Monchu in the Parma save was probably very close. Hadji in the West Ham save as well. Yanis Hadji, you all know my love for Yanis Hadji. Definitely is up there too. But genuinely, he's been fantastic, and I think we're going to concede a sloppy goal here. Levi Faustino does get one back for them. It is disappointing for us. They've not even bothered getting the ball because there's no point. We're just going to demand more from the boys because we really shouldn't be conceding a sloppy goal like that. It's a little bit disappointing. Right, we'll make those final changes now. I left it a bit later than I was going to. I've also frustrated a bunch of the lads because I've told them that they should be doing a bit better, but them's the breaks. Change number 2 is going to be that one. We're going to bring off Gonçalves for Jacob Ramsey, give him some European minutes, and then Vitinha I would like to bring off, but we don't really have anyone who can play. I would consider who can play as a playmaker, so I might bring Boubacar Kamara on, and here's what I will do. I'm going to change Kamara to a ball winner on support, and I'm going to have Sandra Burge be a half-back, and we'll do it that way. So a little bit more defensive. We'll have Jacob Ramsey be support as well. A little bit more defensive. We'll just hold things up a little bit, and we'll just see how that goes, I think. Let's just try and hold things up a little bit. I think that makes the most sense. Let's just see the game out now. We've done the business. We're through to the next round as it stands. We don't need to do anything daft and silly. Let's just go through, shall we? Matty Cash with the throw in. I mean, if we get a 5th, I'm not going to say no to it. Danny, can you provide? Go PARMA. Oh, Go PARMA. That would have been beautiful. If Go PARMA could have got a goal there, I would have been delighted. Absolutely delighted. I mean, I'm still very happy, don't get me wrong. But that would have been the cherry on the cake. The icing on top. That would have been beautiful. Buendia now cutting inside quite a bit. Gets to Danny Ings again. And Danny Ings does make it 5. And it is pretty much confirmed in the 85th minute. And it's also a hat-trick for Danny Ings as well. Nicely done. A good ball from Buendia as well. Again, he has got the ability to play on that left-hand side very competently. And I'm very happy to see it. So I'm pretty happy with what we've done here today. Lovely ball in. Danny Ings is there. Taps it in. 5-1. Thanks very much. I'll take that. I will absolutely take that. Taremi's had a shocker up front for Porto. An absolute shocker. Right. Are they going to get another one back? Or are we going to get the ball off of them? They might get another one back here, actually. They're looking like they've got some good movement going here, which is a bit frustrating. Right, Pepe whips it in. Looking for Mehdi. Mehdi can't get there. Mings clears it. Only as far as one of their players, but the highlight ends because it's not worth it. Looks like PSG have finally switched on and got a goal. Buendia over the ball here, looking to get a goal. I mean, these can be goals sometimes. Oh, Amy Buendia. What a strike that is. I've said it before. Sometimes free kicks in those kind of positions. That one's a little bit wider than normal. Free kicks in those positions sometimes are as powerful as penalties in FM22, and it was proved right there. Normally they're a little bit more central than that, but Buendia has done a wonderful job over on that side, and I'm happy he's on free kicks because that was a beauty, and we do finish the game 6-1. We answered our issues with Porto in that first game of the Champions League season in style by absolutely destroying them in this game. 6-1. Confirmed we finished second. 6 points off PSG, but that doesn't matter. The main thing is we're 2 points ahead of Porto. That result ended up being PSG 4, Olympiacos 0, as you'd expect. All goals in the second half. The defensive wall was broken by PSG. Olympiacos just couldn't hold on anymore. A bit more money in. Obviously, we're going to give Danny Ings a pat on the head for his 3 goals and his assist as well, because that was beautiful. Got a little bit more money as well. Well, that's pretty superb. Right. Now I need to talk about when we're going to be back. And the reason why I say it like that is because we do have the World Cup to contend with. So obviously we're not going to be back before January. Realistically, we're not going to be back in January either. So I do think the most sensible thing to do will be to come back for the Champions League. What we'll do is we'll skip through the rest of November. We'll skip through December with that one game. We'll skip through January, and we'll come back in and around this period here. So I'm thinking either the Leicester game or the Sheffield United game, followed by the second leg of that first knockout round. That feels like the best plan to me. And hopefully, by the end of January, we'll have the right back situation sorted out. Fingers crossed. Thank you for watching. Again, if you have enjoyed, please do leave a like on the video. And do subscribe to the channel as well, so you never miss any of the lovely Football Manager content that comes out from yours truly. I've been Stubo. You guys have been awesome. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.